lonely.
Good sized facility.
That's kind of surprising.
Get up in here and look down.
Steps to get in the pool if you wanted to swim.
Nice. I always said we just needed a hot springs in Bellvue. I know it would be the perfect place.
Okay, so this is the 1925-ish, 6-ish chemical storage building is what they call it. Chemical storage building number 1. And then you can see chemical storage building number 2 here. They were built about 20 years apart. And so again, when the 1920s addition was put on the main plant, they also increased the overall capacity of the site by adding the basins and adding the second storage facility. And I've been inside that building, but not this building. And it's interesting because there's just, when I said that some times it just feels like they locked the door and walked away, bags of, garnet sand, just sitting around. They didn't even clear out, all of the lime bags and that sort of stuff. So of course they're treating the water with lime up here. They're putting it through sand filtration, flocculation basins where they, treat the water in the basins, chemically treat the water.
Is that an obscene word?
I think it kind of is. It sounded like a little obscene. So let's not think too much about it.
I don't think there are any kids on this pool.
Oh, that wouldn't bother them.
So anyway, again, eras of development, 20s, and then they did it again in the 40s and added another basin over there. And then there were additional changes you'll see when we get all the way up to the intake around the corner there.
Where did they get the garnet from?
I don't know. I mean, this is a commercial product that is in there now that came, they got in bags off the railroad, I'm sure, but I don't know where it came from.
Garnet.
It's garnet mines in Montana.
Yeah.
Montana? Well, that's what I was
And why they used garnet sand in particular, I don't know. Interesting thing about the lime treatment, though, when they were studying the plant, when they did the feasibility study in the 80s, and they were trying to decide what to do. You had the Soldier Canyon plant, so that schematic that you had, that black and white, that was done in 1981 as part of that feasibility study. And so it really shows the plant in its full maturity before they started shutting things down. But after they reduced the capacity to 13 million gallons because of the Safe Drinking Water Act. And anyway, one of the things that they were trying to figure out, or problems they were trying to solve when they did the feasibility study, is what are we going to do about all of these lime-coated pipes that we have to get in there and route out so that the water flow isn't reduced too much. And that was a big problem, is just lime buildup, over the decades. And it would have been really expensive to really solve that problem. So that was one of the issues. Certainly not capacity was a lot of it too. And just the ability to modernize foreseeably into the future, of course, was really the biggest issue versus a plant that had been built in 1969. One thing I do want to tell you all about while we're all still kind of paused is, I mentioned earlier that historic structural assessment that we're getting underway this fall. And I said a little bit about what our kind of vision is for what's going to happen with the site. But when I say vision, I probably really shouldn't use that word because right now it's really more of a conversation that we're trying to get going. It's very sensitive. On the other side of this ridge is Seaman Reservoir, as you probably know, that was constructed in 1945. It's the city of Greeley's water. And they have water rights and the ability through this parcel to create new alterations over time. And we anticipate that will happen at some point, and that we'll be in negotiations with the city of Greeley on that matter. So that's worrying people. What's going to happen if we, make this,
what does that mean?
Site?
Does that mean more pipelines from Greeley
Yeah.
down to...
So, ultimately, more water diversion activity of some kind. And storage, ultimately, potentially. I don't know if they can expand Seaman Reservoir. I don't know that much about it.
Yeah.
But I know that Greeley is this is an active site as far as they're concerned. You know, it's not, their plans
not a
here are
dead
not
site,
complete.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's one factor. There are like 4 different property owners, the federal government through the Forest Service, City of Greeley, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, so the state has property that all bound this site, and then there's private parcels. So like many places up the canyon, from a management perspective, it's complicated. And so when we talk in the city about what are we going to do with the awesome treatment plant, we get a lot of looks of fear and trepidation, and there's good reason for it. So we're really happy that the city, you know, there's a consensus that this is an important historic place. Again, because of utilities is so good about caring about their history, they really do. And because it's a sentimental place, because of the Alexander family's history here, you know, we're not worried that there's going to be some, you know, really radical, you know, proposition. But there's no adaptive management plan for the foreseeable future other than a site for interpretation. So we're anticipating that what the structural assessment will bring forward is not just information about the condition of the building, but also some basic preservation plan that we can use for the foreseeable future to make the building more secure, protect it more from those vandalism events that we're seeing, and just make sure that we do a better job of interpreting it and keeping it from degrading. And so, you know, there's talk about filling in these basins. People worry about safety. You know, we have to bring the preservation and interpretation needs into that conversation as well, since it's a really important part of understanding what happened at the site. And as I mentioned before, a lot of the basins have already been filled in. So if you look on your schematic, you'll see basins that don't exist anymore. So, management.
Electrifying the fence.
Sorry?
How about electrifying the fence?
Great idea. Wayne, be careful.
What do you think has allowed all these buildings to survive all this time? Not the buildings alone, but the features here. They're all here, even though it's been shut down for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, why hasn't the city gone in? Why didn't they go in the late '80s or whatever and just tear everything down, do reclamation?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never.
1883 waterworks, they just left it, you know, alone because I mean they're lazy in some ways. You know, it takes money
Well,
to
it
tear a
takes
building
money.
down. So
Yeah. They're not in the way.
yeah.
But I don't know. And so that's another, I think,
Neglect.
great question for investigation is what has the city's kind of administrative policy been over time, and how did we get here to where, you know, it still is the way it is?
And a lot of it depended on who was in the head of utilities at the time. I mean, there's documentation in the city archives that one of the utilities managers, his goal was to have the 1883 Fort Collins Waterworks bulldozed by the end of the year.
When was that? Do you happen to remember?
I don't remember the date right offhand, but I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was totally surprised. And I was surprised to learn that the city looked at potentially selling that site as late as 2007.
Gee,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever for sure. You know that. And it's another reason why when I found out about the bats, we immediately got a CSU intern to do the National Register documentation because we wanted that. We weren't even 100% sure at that time we were going to try to get an HSA grant, but we definitely wanted a better piece of paper to wave around in front of people. And we got that. So again, your interests and ideas, you know, imagine it as a great site for interpretation, but you know, long term, you know, there's been all kinds of cool ideas. Well, this is a great place to learn about science and ecology and history all in one place. And if we had $1 billion, you know, we would create a great interpretive facility that would conserve the building, and people would learn about the bats, and somehow that activity would disturb the bats, and you know, there have been some expansive conversations, you know, in that regard. But yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Great point. So this is not inside our growth management area, so we have this weird exception in our preservation code that we can't landmark properties that are, even if they're city-owned, if they're not in our growth management area, which we're going to try to get changed, to be honest with you, because that's just stupid. It's there for, you know, certain reasons that were maybe more important in the past, but it does not serve us today. And we don't.
The same problem that's prevented the city from landmarking up in Soapstone.
Exactly.
Bobcat Ridge,
Yeah, and
this
so then,
facility.
so then we suffer because we can't leverage, our funding
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that we can't do because they haven't been, it hasn't been. But there are other things we can do. Thank goodness for the National Register.
Okay, onward.
You know, I used to work for the Division of Wildlife, and we had settling ponds where the fish were, and this reminds me of that same thing. And so you'd get water to settle. These drains in the middle would go back to the river with more of the sludge, the sand
Yeah, the
and
sludgy
the debris.
stuff.
But then the rest of the water could be a lot clearer. And then as it went through these pipes, you see the other layer looks like it's higher up.
Yes, uh-huh.
Same idea. So you're just using gravity.
Yes, right. Yeah, the whole plant just used gravity. It's a great observation. But yes, that's exactly what that is.
And you had access to get in. I mean, the fact that you have stairs over
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
it was exactly for that. So then you would have like a big rake kind of
Yes,
thing
right.
to
Push the sludge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just exactly the same way that Watson Lake
Yeah.
theory
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Greeley water plant? Oh yeah, it's oh my gosh, so many beautiful historic buildings. But yes, they have some similar older basins with this.
This is cool. I mean, they really don't want to get rid of these.